Hey there, how are you? So, another Mobility Monday, and carrying on from the same theme as last week, we're working on that run mobility. So, my big suggestion is that before you go for a run, you spend just a few minutes doing some mobility to loosen up your body in the areas that we want to be moving when we're running. Now, we're going to do a slightly different thing this week. As well as doing our mobility, we're also going to think about some stability, and I'll explain more about that as we go. If you just want your mobility, you can obviously leave out the stability bits of things. But this is a kind of workout routine that I might go through before doing a run. So starting off standing up. So this is also, last week we did a kneeling run mobility sequence. This is if you for some reason don't want to kneel. Maybe your knees feel a bit grumbly, you don't want to kneel on them, or maybe you've gone out for a run, you've left the house and you're like, meant to have done my mobility, you're already out and you don't want to kneel on the ground wherever you are. Or I find I go to park run or go to a race and you've got that kind of chatting, standing around beforehand, you've got a bit of time to loosen up. So standing with your feet nice and wide apart, hip width apart as well, so that you've got some stability there. And then we're going to tuck our tailbone under at the back. So we're tucking the tailbone under, drawing up at the front. This is, I often talk about the idea of tipping the water out the back, imagining our pelvis as a bowl of water, tipping the water out the back. Because our back leg is actually behind us a bit here, we probably won't actually tip the water out the back, but we're just stopping it from tipping out the front so much. So if you imagine your pelvis as a bowl of water, when I'm just standing here not really thinking about it, the water's all falling out of that pelvis down onto the ground in front of me. I'm tipping the tailbone under, and so I'm just not tipping it out quite so much out the front now. So tuck under, release, tuck under, release. I can take, so I've got my right leg back at the moment. I can take my right arm above me, and that just loosens up all the way through here. Our hip flexors run all the way through into our core. So we might just feel that opening that up a little bit more. So I'm loosening up this back hip. I'm then going to do very similar to what we did with our kneeling sequence last week. I'm going to start to push forwards. So I'm taking the leg behind me now, which is what happens when we're running. We want that leg to extend out behind us. And as I do that, I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping that pelvis in neutral. So again, I'm not tipping all the water out the front. I'm not just taking the water. I'm not taking the leg behind me and all the water's tipping out the front. Instead, I'm tucking under, keeping the pelvis in neutral as the leg extends out behind me. If we find that this is too tight to be able to get that leg behind us, so I want the knee on the back leg to be behind my hip bone. If I can't do that, keeping my pelvis in neutral, then you're not going to be able to do it when you're running either, which means you're not really using your glutes fully when you run. When we run, we want that pelvis in neutral rather than tipping the water out the front. That's going to stop us from feeling it so much in the lower back. If you tend to feel it in your lower back, it's probably because you're doing that, tucking under, or not tucking under, and instead you're trying to get that leg behind you by finding the movement in your lower back rather than the movement in your hip. Also means you're not engaging your glutes effectively, which can lead to all sorts of issues when we're running. So let's swap over onto the other side. First of all, legs apart, but first of all, just tucking under. Again, if we want, we can take that top arm over, or the arm over top. And then from there, we're going to do that pushing forwards, leg extending behind us, trying to keep the pelvis neutral. From here, we'll do this a bit longer, but then we're going to go into our glute engagement. Now, on glute engagement, our hips work in partnership with our glutes. If we're tight at the hips, it's hard to engage our glutes. If we're running, we want those glutes to engage to give us the stability that we need as we run. Our glutes are so powerful. They're one of the most powerful fatigue-resistant muscles in the body, so we want them working for us when we run, but they're also really important in terms of our stability. If I just do this way forwards, if my glutes aren't engaging, you might see your hip dropping down, you might see your knee collapsing in, and all of that can lead to issues, particularly at the knee, because the knee is designed to be loaded like that, not like that. And as soon as we start going squiffy, everything's been loaded in a way it's not meant to be. So we end up with, you'll have heard of IT band pain, you'll have heard of runner's knee, all those sort of things. If we get the glutes firing, giving us that stability around this area, we're a lot less likely to experience that. So we need to loosen the hips to allow us to engage the glutes to get ourselves into that running position with the leg extending behind us. But then we want to engage the glutes. So as I said, slight cheat in our Mobility Monday this week. We're also doing some stability. If you have a book or something to stand on, or a step to stand on, just so that you can stand with one leg and get the leg moving, swinging without having to bend the leg. That's just why I'm standing on the step here. And then I'm just swinging my leg behind me. And check what happens before you even think about it. If you are moving through the pelvis here, if you're bending through the lower back, if you can even put your hands on that lower back, if you're feeling movement and sort of tightness in that lower back as that leg extends behind you, that's what we want to avoid. Instead, we want to keep that stable, and it's the glute that's doing the work. So now let's be a bit more mindful in what we're doing. We don't really need to swing forwards. We're just thinking about the swing at the back, and we're trying to pull the leg as far back behind us as we can, but have a look down and check it's the knee that is moving. So often I'll see people doing this and they're like, yep, my heel's coming all the way behind me, but they're not moving the thigh. I want you to try and separate those two knees. Standing leg knee stays where it is. The other knee pulls as far back behind you as you can. Make sure as you do that, and hold on for something for balance if you need to, as you do that, don't tip forwards. Don't bend at the leg, as I say. Think about using that glute, keeping the pelvis neutral to pull the leg back behind you. Let's swap sides now. So this is a lovely exercise to do before we run. It's helping us to wake up that glute, bum muscle. It's helping us to connect to our body. Think about the pattern we want to make when we're running. When we're running, that leg extends behind us, we come forwards. But we want to be able to engage that glute as that leg comes behind us. As I say, it's going to give us that power, that fatigue resistance, but it's also so important for stabilizing, for protecting our knees. So swing that leg, get the leg coming back behind you. Thinking about separating the knees, trying to get that back knee swinging as far back within reason behind you as you can, but keeping that neutral pelvis. Put the hands on the bum. Can you feel that bum working as the leg falls, as the leg swings back? Lovely. From there, we're going to go into our ankle mobility. So if you've got a chair, if you're in the park, a bench or something, I would do this with your foot up. You can also do it with your foot on the ground though. So I've got my foot in front of me and I'm just pushing my knee forwards. I'm pushing my knee towards my little toe. If I want to do it on the ground, I'm obviously just doing it on the ground as well. And I'm just building my ankle mobility. So our tendency is often for the knee to go towards the instep, towards the big toe. Push it towards the little toes. Keep the heel on the ground. Keep the foot facing forwards. If you're getting any pinching at the front of the ankle there, it's probably just that ankle bone's moving a bit too far forward. If you have a thigh band or a TheraBand, you can just put it over the front of the ankle, step on it on the back, and do exactly that same exercise. And that's just going to keep that ankle bone where it should be rather than it translating forwards as you push forwards. That's just if you're getting any pinching at the front of the ankle. Swap sides, same on the other side. Lovely. From there, we're going to go into loosening up the inside of our thighs. So we're just going to take our legs nice and wide apart, feet facing forwards, and just into a side lunge. Going side to side, keeping our upper body upright, trying to keep our knee facing forwards rather than our knee going too far out to the side. And then as we go, trying to get deeper. So see how much lower down towards the ground you can get. You want to do your ankle mobility before this just to make sure that the ankles aren't the limiter here. Can you get your hands down to the ground? Don't worry if you can't. Can you get your hands down to the ground without leaning forwards, but trying to keep that chest up. So think bum towards heel rather than chest towards knee. See if you can take the legs a little bit wider. So we're just loosening up, work to your range of motion, don't force anything here. Trying to just loosen up the inside of those thighs. Can you get any wider? Again, work to your range. Now these inside thigh muscles work in partnership with your outside glutes. Outside glutes, glute, mid, and then really powerful, particularly for stabilizing those hips. If these are tight, it's going to be hard to work these on the outside. So now we're going to go into a leaning forward. You could do this against a lamppost. You could do this, in fact, they're called lampposts. So leaning forwards, taking the leg out to the side and lifting. I'll show you what I'm doing forwards. I'm leaning forwards onto a non-existent thing right here, taking the leg out to the side. So I'm working this side glute. It's the one that we also do kneeling on the ground, like a dog having a pee up against a lamppost, but we're doing this one in standing. Take it up to the top, pause at the top. That's when we're working. We're not working with the legs hanging down here. We're working when the leg comes up to the side. So if you don't feel it working much, pause for a bit longer up at the top, or you can even just pulse, get that side glute working. Swap to the other side. And you can obviously adjust how long you do these for, but the main thing is not to tire out the muscle, but just to wake it up, remind it what it does, so that it's then working for you when you're running. So that as you're running, those hips aren't doing that, because these guys are helping, especially if you've got a crossover gait, if you run a bit like that, again, get those side glutes working to stabilize. Then last one is our upper body. So again, with our foot up on our park bench, we could equally well be doing this on the ground, but slightly easier with your foot up. I'm going to, so I've got my left foot forward, right foot on the ground. I'm going to take my left elbow onto the inside of that left thigh. I'm going to press my hands together as if I was praying and turning to the side. So I'm working that thoracic mobility, that mid-back mobility. If you want, you can go arm up, release. Just doing a few of these, so we're keeping our hips facing forwards, pointing towards your toe, and the mid-back is moving relative to that. Lovely. Change onto the other side. So we want this mid-back, we want our lower back to stay where it is. That shouldn't move much at all as we run, but we want that movement through the mid-back so we can get some good rotation going there. And just for our general health. Lovely. And then last one, and this is a really easy one, you can even do this while you're running, but standing there with your thumbs facing forwards, take the thumbs out to the sides and take the thumbs behind you. So as you do that, you can feel those muscles round the back of the shoulder blades working. So point the thumbs behind you and hold, just keeping a nice natural posture for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, and then see if you can get yourself back into that same posture, engaging around the back of the shoulder blades, but without using your thumbs. And this is, and we're going to hold again here, this is where we want to be when we're running. We don't want to be all like this, because when we're like this, we end up here. We want those muscles engaged round the back of the shoulder blades, so as we run, we can drive the elbows back behind us, keeping nice and upright. So just holding for a few more seconds there, engaging those muscles around the back of your shoulders. And that's it. So we've loosened up the main areas that we want to loosen up before we run. our hips, the inside of our thighs, our thoracic spine, our ankles, and we started to engage all the muscles around those joints as well to give us that stability as we run. We haven't done our calves yet. I do calf raises afterwards. If you are a runner though, I strongly recommend that you're doing at least 3 sets of calf raises, ideally 3 times a week, ideally after running. Okay, we're not going to do those today though, because that would definitely be a Stretch and Mobility Monday. Hope that was helpful. Let me know if you're interested in doing more work where you work on that full body, not just the mobility, but the stability as well. Have a look at my Club Feel Fit sessions. They are weekly sessions where we do mobility, we do stability, and we do strength as well. And we do breathing, we do pelvic floor, we do a whole load of stuff as well. But have a look on my website, feelfitwithlucy.co.uk/Club Feel Fit, or there'll be a link in here. And you can find out loads more about those sessions there. Free trial available as well. All right, have a lovely week. I'll see you back again next Monday.